Oh yes, we're doing that podcast thingy. Okay, right, I'm Jan.
I'm Sharon.
And we're menopausal friends living here in France, and we plan to share with you our lives,
Loves.
and laughter, as the saying goes.
There's always lots of that.
We'll be discussing many subjects and also just being us. Enjoy!
Woohoo!
Hello, welcome to this week's podcast.
Hello.
This week we have decided to share some pros and cons of being single and being in a relationship. I think that's the way to say it, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose it's about living with someone and living alone as well.
Right, I live with my husband, and this is my second husband, and we've been together for around 27 years, I think.
Wow.
I think so, yeah. My first marriage, I would think we were together about 19, 20 years. So, and your Sharon's situation is?
I was in quite a long relationship very young, so I was in a long relationship, 9-year relationship between being 15 and 24. We only lived together for about 18 months, I think, because we were obviously very young. And then I was with Mac from... Right, we got together in 86 and we split up in 2007. Actually, 86. We lived together from 87. We got married in 90 and we separated in 2007. So we were together for 20 years. Obviously, we had 3 kids as well. We never divorced. And in fact, Max sent me a 25th wedding anniversary card.
Oh, before you, when we were apart.
Yes. And I used to say to people that success of a
successful marriage,
the most successful marriage is we hadn't lived together for 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So we never divorced. I did start divorce proceedings. I never finished them. And then when Mac died 3 years ago, I became a widow.
Even though you hadn't been with him for ages. But it's weird, isn't it? Because you weren't weren't divorced, you became a widow,
Yeah, we'd been separated something like 14 years by then. 14 years. So slightly weird situation, but so he was my main sort of adult relationship.
Well, because I met my ex in 76, got married in 78.
Oh,
it seems so long ago, doesn't it?
It does.
And then
I didn't leave school till 1980.
then with Roger, I had 4 children in that time we were together. And then I left him in the June on Father's Day, which he never forgave me for, and met Duncan in that same year in the September.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I hadn't met anybody before I left him, so I was looking for someone else, because I'm not the sort of person, or wasn't the sort of person, that would be looking to living on my own.
No.
I just thought always wanting that support, because even when I was at school, all I could think about, I was going to leave work, I was going to get married and have children. That was my ambition, which isn't very good really, although
no, it's just different.
It's just I didn't want to be a career person, basically.
Well, I was quite opposite, because I wanted the career, and I always said, I'm never going to have children. Yes. And
it's
and
funny,
then
isn't it?
Once the desire to have kids got hold of me, that was it. I needed children immediately.
Well, I mean, me, I think, I say we didn't know how many we wanted. I think we did know, because I was one of 4 children, he was one of 4 children, and I think we had it in our mind that that's what we would do, and it was almost like it was a challenge set, because we did end up with the 4. But
that's interesting, isn't it? Because I was an only child. Mac was one of 6, so he didn't necessarily want a big family.
Oh, right.
Because of the opposite, I did. So I suppose we met in the middle in the end. Yeah, it's interesting,
Well,
isn't it?
yeah, you did really, didn't you, with 3? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was divorced. Well, actually, it was about 3 years after we separated that I divorced. And then obviously, as I say, I met Duncan in the same year. And then he moved in within about 3 months in with me. So that, that was all quite fast, really.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's and then I felt like I was on a. I don't know. I seemed like I was going on a holiday all the time because I hadn't been on holiday very much, having had the children. But Duncan was a bit more of a traveller, and I used to go on holiday quite a lot. So, and obviously we still try to.
So it's quite a different lifestyle for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My life did change a lot, in lots of ways. But also in the fact that I was separated meant I did have to support myself, because obviously, as soon as I started claiming benefit, it was affecting my ex. And he wasn't very happy about that, as men generally aren't. I didn't mean it to be,
You don't get a choice.
No, exactly. So I did end up going back doing the usual thing, like when you're a mum, you can work 16 hours or something, so it doesn't interfere with school and everything. So I did go back to work, but then all the time we was in the UK, I was working in the end. I was working, so as I've said before, I've worked up from working in the school kitchen to being a temp to then being, I worked in nurseries first, then I became a temp.
Yeah.
And that's how it was. After all of that I ended up working, obviously, where we worked. Don't know if we should even say the names, don't want to advertise for them.
No.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And then so then obviously Duncan and I came to France, and that's the rest is history, really.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, and I no longer work.
Well, I was similar to you.
One pro of being in a couple when he's younger than me.
Yes. I was obviously before I was always a bit of a career woman, and even having had the children, I always went back to work after each child. They were quite young as well. So Callum was only 3 months old when I went back. Although I worked part-time then, I worked job shared. And Fee was 6 months old, but I went back full-time. And then I had a year off with Isla, but I think I only did that a little bit longer because I actually started my maternity leave quite early because Callum was starting school, so it made sense. And then with school and nursery and everything, I was off for a year with Isla, but I was always back at work. Yeah. So I think when Mac and I separated, I did find it hard at the beginning. Obviously, a full-time job, commuting, 3 kids, although they were a little bit older at that stage. I think Isla was the youngest, she was 11. So they were like 11, 13 and 15 or something like that. 2007, something like that. So, that was tough, and I had a lot going on. But I did start to, I wouldn't say I was looking for a permanent relationship. I dated, put it politely. And I ended up in a relationship early 2008, which lasted about a year. And at one stage, I wouldn't say he fully lived with us, but he was staying a lot.
All right.
But then once that relationship finished, I think that's when I realised I wasn't necessarily cut out for relationships.
Oh, really? You decided you felt better on your own.
And I didn't trust my choices, put it that way.
Oh, right.
And then I was on my own for 5 years after that, and then started dating again 2012.
All right.
Yeah.
So that doesn't sound that long ago, but it's,
and then
12 years ago.
Did a few dates, and I had some guys I saw regularly, but I never wanted anyone to live with me, so it's a different approach second time round, put it that way. So it's very much a casual thing, you know, it's like someone to go out to dinner with or go to the theatre or whatever.
I think it's nice if you can manage to do that, just be friends with men. I mean, because you had a few that you were just friends with, didn't you? So it's nice to be able to do that and then bye.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you want, sort of thing.
But it was a conscious decision coming to France that, that was the end of all that. I didn't want
to get involved.
Didn't want to get involved. And even before I came to France, there was a definite, well, I might want to go out with someone or have certain services from them. But I didn't want to live with them.
Certain needs, you mean?
I had certain needs. I didn't want to live with them even then. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, because I've gone down a totally different path to that.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
And I think he's just been lucky because he's a very caring person, and was, and to a certain extent, I've ended up on a pedestal most of the time, until I upset him, but then that's normal. So yeah, I've been quite lucky there, but it's a very, very different relationship to the first one.
Yes,
definitely.
Yes,
so
and I think for me to ever find someone now, it would have to be a very different relationship again, because I think I'm a different person.
Well, yeah, because you've been on your own so much. Yeah. I mean, the saying that, like the fact that you've been on your own for so long and you've developed certain habits and things you do.
Yes.
That's how it was, because Duncan had been up until I met him when he was 28, and up until then he's still old enough that he's got into certain habits and that. So it took a while, just certain things, like when we first got together, he'd go make himself a sandwich and then come sit down next to me. Okay.
Yes, because he was so used to being on his own.
Just doing his own. And
it's really interesting.
And he used to upset me, and then he got upset because he'd upset me. So yeah, it's things like that. He's had to get used to doing stuff for two, as it were.
Yes,
but not that he does much of the cooking and all that anymore. I'd do that, but God, I think we'd starve, or we'd be on one single, or maybe two different foods.
Well, there'd be a lot of quiche.
There would be a lot of quiche and maybe shepherd's pie.
Because when you weren't well...
Yeah, that's right.
And Dunk took some control of the cooking.
Yeah.
There was a lot of quiche.
He bought a lot of quiches, bless him. So, the French packet quiches aren't that tasty either. So,
Oh.
So, yeah. But, I mean, what subject can we hit on first? Let's go. I've got a list here. There's no particular order, but I've got shopping.
Now, what do you mean by that?
It's just I can't necessarily. I don't just go out and get. I'm obviously not just buying just for me. I'm buying for two of us. So I've got to consider what Duncan likes and doesn't like.
Is this a pro or a con?
This is. Oh, that's a good point. I don't think it's either, really, is it? No, I don't know.
Do you like cooking for Dunk? Do you like cooking for two rather than for one?
I just do it. I like it to be part of it. I like to know that I'm feeding him well. I like to know he is getting fed. So it's all part of the caring for someone, isn't it?
Yes.
So I do like to make sure we buy the right foods that he will eat, because occasionally he can be quite fussy, whereas I'll eat most things. So I do usually, I buy for him in a way, although I do throw things in that I like as well, which I might have at maybe a lunchtime, because in the evening we nearly always eat together. So yeah, and the fact that now for some reason we've got into a habit of him doing the shopping together, because I think it was because he was worrying about money, which that's one thing. If I was on my own, I'd be a bit more scared, I think, where I feel like because he does deal with the money, I'd be more worried that I was going to overspend and then have nothing left, because I'm not very good with money.
No, me neither.
So when it comes to shopping, we've sort of moulded into each other, I think, because we know what we can afford and what we can't afford.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a control, not him controlling you. I mean, he provides some kind of control mechanism.
Well, yeah, because I need him to.
Yeah.
He needs to keep his eye on the purse strings, because I don't necessarily. I try, but he pays all the bills and everything, because he sees them come in, he pays them.
Well, he's the main wage earner now.
Well,
isn't
exactly,
he?
and because he knows what's in the bank and what there is to pay, what bills, and because obviously the knock-on effect of that is he gets more of the stress than I do, which I feel bad about. And apart from having to forget my retirement and go back to work, and working in France isn't really an
Definitely
option.
aren't I?
Yeah, working in France is not really an option, which is why I did start off doing changeovers and things, so I felt like I was contributing then, but then obviously got ill, and over time my people that I was working for sold their houses, so that job went by the wayside. So really my earner, if you like, is me doing the sheep as and when we get guests come in. So I do like to know I'm contributing. I don't like it to all be on him. So when we're getting guests, I feel like I'm doing my bit.
Yes.
But
yeah.
also, I think I'm an old-fashioned girl in the way that I do feel like, even though it's not, I do the housework, I do some of the shopping, but Duncan's quite happy to stop on the way back from work and get the shopping if we've run out of anything. I do the cooking, I do the washing.
Yes.
And I suppose in a way I like that I've got that little bit of control, because I'm missing a little bit of control from that little time when I was on my own, because I wasn't on my own for very long. Like I said, I left my ex in June and got together with Duncan in the September, and he moved in later that, about 3 months later. So I didn't have a lot of time on my own.
No, did you not enjoy it though?
Or being on my own? Do you know, it was so quick. I enjoyed the little. It's selfish to say, but I enjoyed the time I was on my own, and when the children were still at their dad's, because I hadn't moved in with me straight away. So that was a little bit of freedom for a while.
Yes.
But I didn't really do an awful lot. It was just have just do what I want, get up when I want, and to like to go to work, that sort of thing. But
yeah,
I do. Yeah, there's a bit in me that wants to be able to control some of it, and that can cause a bit of conflict occasionally, because Duncan just wants to look after me. But,
yes, yeah.
But that's why I like the fact that if I do the housework and everything else, I feel like
it's a good division of labour, isn't it?
It is, but Duncan doesn't see it as my job. If I want him to, he always say, just tell me what you need me to do, because he's not of a mind to just think, oh, that needs doing, other than the fact it's obvious, it's on the floor, something needs sweeping up or something like that.
I suppose getting onto that, that's the disadvantage of being on your own, is that everything falls on you. So from a point of view, as you say about money, it's all in my control or not in my control, which can be a con, because
what do you mean by not in your control? Just
if I don't keep control of it.
Right.
But I do have to, balance the books, make sure everything's paid for. And also I've only got one income.
Yeah.
So, I'm lucky to have, enough of a pension to cover my expenses, but, I'm not rich. So having two incomes would make a huge difference to me now. But everything's on you. So from a practical point of view as well. So as you say, things like that you and Dunk may share, I'm doing all of them, aren't I?
Yeah.
So, all the shopping, all the cooking, all the cleaning and tidying, looking after the animals. I know a lot of that's my choice, but there is only me doing all that. So that's one disadvantage. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, I mean, one advantage for you with the fact that
I've got lots of advantages, Jen.
you've got the control of the funds, as it were. You can.
Yes.
It's up to you. You make your own decisions on what you spend on.
Absolutely.
Other than the bills, they've got to be paid.
Bills have got to be paid, but anything else, yes, it's up to me. So I can buy stupid things. It's only going to have an effect on me as well.
Yeah, it's just you've got to swallow the consequences if you bought something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because we all do that, don't we?
We
buy
all
things
do that,
were a mistake, as it were.
But there's no consequences for anyone else but me. So.
Yeah, do you think that's a disadvantage, that you can't turn around and blame someone?
No. I have my fair share of that. But no, I like having full control.
Yeah.
So, and again, if I want to, some of this is going to sound like, some of this is obviously living with Mac and things that didn't go right in our marriage. So, that things I say are pros for living on your own, for other people that you think, well, you just haven't met the right partner. You could be right, but yeah. So
well, I mean, but you could always say that though, can't you?
yes, yeah. Money wise, I can give money to the kids. I can pay for things for the kids. I can lend money to the kids, and no one's going to tell me that was not right or not the right thing to do, or some of that's my money, you know, because
again, it's the consequences. You make that decision, and then later, if you think maybe I shouldn't have done that, then you just learn from that, I suppose.
Yeah. I like the idea of idiot tax as well. I've picked this up from a podcast.
Yeah.
That someone's dad said, you know, write off so much money a year as idiot tax. So things you've done wrong, things you've bought when later you think, well, that was a waste of money, or, you know, refunds you've not claimed for, or things like that. Idiot tax. I've got an idiot tax, definitely. So, yeah.
I mean, going back to Duncan being he's in control of the money because he's got to control it, because he's got to pay the bills.
Yeah, in control doesn't mean he's in control of you. It just means that's something he takes control of. That's what I
suddenly thought. I didn't want it to sound like that, because basically I have a bank card, and he never questions it. You know, he always just says, "You've got the card, you need it, go and get it." You know, so it's not the sort of person who wants to hold all the purse strings.
No,
it doesn't work like that.
No.
Which I'm glad about that, but it's more my conscience that I don't like spending because I'm not earning it, which is silly. Although some people would say, "But you're looking after the house, Jan. You're doing this. That's your job, you know, as it were." Even though, God, there'd be people shouting at the at the screen now. It's not your job, you know, because we're in a different age now, aren't we? So, but no, that's how I choose to be. And just occasionally, I just want both ends of the candle. Not both ends of the candle.
Wrong idiom.
Yeah. It's basically, I want everything, because I want him to look after me, and I want all that, but at the same time I want some control myself as well. Can't have it always, as I say.
Well, it's that balance, isn't it, between complete freedom, which is what I've got in a lot of ways, and complete control. And most people operate in the middle, don't they? So it's about getting a balance right. Yeah. And maybe that's what I wasn't very good at in relationships either. So, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, but so, I mean, at the moment, the thing is as well, because he knows what's in the bank, and if like recently, obviously, we've had a bit of a struggle, and so I think it's peace of mind for him if he comes shopping, and he because he knows the prices of things, and I don't, because I just go and I'm reckless really. I just go and just pick it up. But apart from recently, I do try and watch it, but I can't remember all the prices.
No.
So, you know, he will remember, and he'll say, well, I know we can get that cheaper somewhere else, you know. So, so anything else shopping-wise? Clothes are my choice. If we buy anything for the house, it's our choice. Usually don't all veer towards my decision, because he's trying to keep me happy.
Yeah.
That's what they always say, isn't it? If you keep your wife happy, then you'll be happy. That's what they say, don't they? But I have to stand by that.
Yeah. I mean, one of my first things I put on my pros was having the house exactly as I want it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not having to compromise. I mean, not so much now, but I think when I've gone through phases where my house has been very feminine, like traditional feminine, flowers everywhere, and I've kind of gone away from that again now. But yeah, it's been my choice for a long while. Yeah. So I can have it exactly as I want it. Yeah. So, you know, again, if I want the main feature of my living room to be the 2 armchairs for the cats. Yeah. I can.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's having that control. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because I hate buying a lot of the time, and I don't trust I don't always trust my choices. So that's where I am glad I've got someone else to back me up on that. But the thing is, he can be the same. We could stand there looking at one thing we want to buy, and we could be there for hours, because we can't. None of us wants to be the one to decide on it.
Yes.
And then it goes wrong.
Yes.
But we usually stand by it. We just support each other on that.
Yes.
So it can be bit difficult at times, but no. And we've not necessarily got the same taste, which makes things difficult.
Yes.
We are getting there, because we will suddenly find ourselves, like, for example, if you're at a Vig Grenier, both of us will spot the same thing at the same time, because we both know that that's what we'd like in the house or something like that, you know. But we've got lots of different taste in other things like TV and stuff like that. It's hard to agree on a programme, so it's always one of us is basically sat there watching something the other one wants to watch.
Yes.
Okay, you know,
Yes.
I usually come round my end because I just think, well, it's on, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But quite often I will give in and just look at my phone, do a crossword if it's not something I want to watch.
Well, full control of the
sort of
remote is on my list of pros.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's to me, there could be a con that I don't get to do that very often, which is what I quite often say, you know, it's nice to have a day or an evening on your own and just, I've got control to click and watch whatever I want.
Yes. Well, I have,
I think most couples are like that, to be honest.
Yes, I mean, Mac would get up and leave the room if I put some of my obsessions on.
Well, this is what, that's what Dunk would do.
Well, that would annoy me, though, at the
Yeah,
time.
it does me.
Yeah.
Because I just think, oh, come on, I sit and watch what you want to watch. Why won't you? But he can't. He just can't.
Yeah.
He just walks off. Mind you, having a TV in the bedroom, he'll just go up and watch that. Which really is fair enough. Why should I, make him sit? I don't have to sit and watch his programmes. I can go and watch the other TV, but I just do.
Yeah.
It's being a stubborn woman sometimes, isn't it?
I've been judged as well with the remote, because if I want to watch crap,
I
can. And then I can let people know whether I can choose whether to let people know I've watched that.
Yeah.
It's like the last few nights been watching this series, and because I've not felt that great, I've been sitting down quite early. Sort of 5 o'clock, I'm in front of the telly, and then I'm watching 5 hours, 6 hours of just episode after episode of this thing I like.
No one's going to tell you can't.
No one's going to tell me I can't. Yeah. Which is very good.
Yeah.
See, that's what worries me. One of the things that would worry me about starting a relationship again. And it's that idea of being on my own so much. The idea that someone would come in and say, well, on Sundays we're going to watch that. I think, oh no, we're not.
I think that's quite a common feeling, and I can imagine, it'd be,
and I
you'd
think,
have to be of some sort of understanding before you even start.
Absolutely. You'd have to lay some laws down, I think. Where when you start relationships when you're younger, you don't necessarily think of that, do you?
No, you're just still in love and just want to just do things together.
Yes, there'll be none of that. They'll be like, this is what happens if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I'll end up staying on my own.
But does that side of it, I mean, I never thought of it like that before. I mean, like getting old, I didn't put that on the list. I mean, does that worry you, though, being on your own and older?
It could do, but there's no guarantee, even if you're in a relationship, that you'll be the one left behind.
No.
And in fact, I don't want to talk about don't get run over by a bus, but you
have a job round here.
No
buses.
More like a tractor. But
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
You would find it more difficult.
Yeah, because we have only got our current situation to base things on.
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So if I can't, at the moment, I can't ever think of being on my own because I don't imagine that. But you just don't know.
No. So that could be a disadvantage, getting older.
But then also you're. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I mean, the older you get, the more you're going to be into your own ways, and like you say, it's going to be difficult to even start sharing.
Yes.
In some ways.
I don't particularly want to share.
No. It doesn't matter what it is, you're not sharing.
So it goes back to being an only child.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Have I always been reluctant to share?
Yeah. I'm not a great sharer myself, really. Especially if it's something I like. When it comes to sort of food and drink, I'm not a very good sharer.
No.
But whereas you would.
Would I share
Well, maybe,
more?
I don't know. Well, no, I
Yeah.
think at least you would show like you wanted to share. Because I know you have done.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
But
I'm quite
I
sharey
know
with my
I'm not a
kids.
very good sharer because,
Yeah.
or I do it, I will do it.
But you're not
But
enjoying
sometimes
it.
it might be begrudgingly because I'll be thinking, if you've bought something, you're going to sit down and enjoy it that night, and then suddenly people come round and, oh, for God's sake. Going back to the other podcast about greed, just like every now and then you want it just for yourself.
Yes, of course you do. Of course you do.
I mean, that's one thing that's on my, that's another con is if we got anything in food-wise, generally, most of the time it will be shared. I wouldn't be just eating it all myself, whereas you'd sit and think, no one else is having this, it's mine.
Yes.
And I envy that in some ways, but it also does me a favour with my weight.
Well, I was going to say, sometimes I could do with a control mechanism.
You need Marco keep jumping up, knocking out your hand, so he has done
Izzy.
before.
No, Izzy does
it's
that.
Izzy.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's the diabetic that does that. Yes.
Yeah, I've already touched on talk about work. I mean, I don't now unless I'm preparing the gîte, unless you count sort of, what do we call it? It's a femme de ménage here, isn't it? I'm a house.
Domestic
supposedly a
goddess.
house. And I must admit, because of the way things are nowadays, and people say you can't, it's like you're putting yourself down by saying you're a housewife, but you're not really, because it's still a responsible job and it's hard work and everything. But people always just see it as a,
Yeah.
well, you don't go to work, you're just at home.
But I think increasingly more men, I mean, if you're in a, I've forgotten the heterosexual relationship,
yeah.
words, heterosexual relationship, there's no reason these days why the man could not decide to stay at home and the woman goes out to work.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what the position.
But it's usually if you've got children though as well, isn't
yes,
it? Generally.
yeah, but yeah, we should be able to get to a position where either should be able to decide to stay at home or go to work. Maybe same-sex relationships have got that better because they're not covered by that
that's the point.
traditional roles in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say 2 out of the 3 main relationships, I've been the major wage earner, so that's made it slightly different.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I earned more.
Yeah.
So,
See, I've always been the lower earner, if you like.
So maybe that changes things a bit. I don't know. With the kids, going back to looking after the kids, I think we tried just about everything over the 3 kids. So obviously I was the only one on maternity leave. I'd had the babies. But I've stayed off maternity leave. I job shared, so I was working part-time. When I went back full-time, we had school nurseries, private nurseries, childminders, and then we did a thing with we could construct our hours however we liked. So I used to start, God forbid, first thing in the morning. So I'd work 7 till 3.
All right.
So I could pick the kids up from school. Mac would work like 10 till 6, so he used to drop them off. So we
worked it between you.
Yeah, we did a variety of things. Yeah.
That's one thing. I never had to find childcare with any of mine because they were just once. Emma, the eldest, went to school, and then Stacey went to school. So I was just always at home. It was only when I got to, I think, April, I was starting to need to go to work, so she had to go go to nursery, I suppose. And I must have been. No, it must have been later than that. Anyway, what my memory's like. But anyway, yeah. So I never really. It was just their childcare was going to nursery.
Yes.
They didn't have to go into a childminder or anything like that.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, so that is my work, and I do in a way, because I did have a little time of working. I do miss, which is stupid, because Duncan always says his money's our money, but I think I'm a typical woman in some ways, that if I was earning, I would be sent to a certain extent thinking, for that's my bit, my bit of money in there. It's stupid.
So his money is our money.
Yeah,
my money is my money.
It's classic, isn't it? So many women say that, and it didn't end up that way, because if his money had run out, if we were in the UK, then obviously we'd go into my account until we got a shared one, and then that was all irrelevant anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just would some ways, even though because I'm never stopped spending, like I said, I would still like to feel that I'd got my money and not feel guilty about spending it.
Yes.
Even though, as I say, I shouldn't because I'm
Yes.
allowed to.
Yeah.
But it's a mental thing.
Yes, I was going to say
mental.
It's in your brain somewhere,
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's But I think most women are like that though. Yeah.
Of our generation.
Mine is mine and yours is ours. Yeah.
Yeah, of our generation more. I don't think younger.
Definitely our generation.
People have the same views.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And also, I think sometimes I think I'm not quite like my mum, but my mum was always at home. She only worked here and there as well. So maybe I've got a little bit of her in me as well. I don't know. I'm talking about having a man around as well. Is the cars.
Yes.
Like we've both got cars, and I can drive mine. I just get in it. I just turn the key and I drive it, and that's it. As long as it goes, I'm terrible if I don't check the oil. I don't check the tyres, and usually because Duncan's already done that.
Yes. Well, I don't do that either.
He maintains our cars.
Yeah. He half maintains mine as well.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's the advantage of having a practical husband. I've known people who didn't have that. So I've had friends whose husbands couldn't do the decorating or couldn't muck around with the car. So you are lucky like that.
Yeah. I know.
But I do ask Dunk a lot, don't I, to help me with various things. Yeah, and
he's not got a problem because he'd rather you ask him than you go and pay full price with someone else.
Yes.
We know he's like he can turn his hand to most things.
Yeah, he's very practical.
So
and Mac, all the time he was around, he would come up to my flat in the UK to see the kids or whatever, and I would say, "Oh, how would I do this if I had to?"
I remember, yeah.
And he used to go, "Hang on, I'll get my tools out of the car."
Yeah.
So he would do things like that for me.
Yeah.
I do also have another wife, don't I? In that I have Julie.
Have another wife, yeah.
Julie will do things.
Well, she's not yours.
She's not my wife.
She's Max's, but
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I share her sometimes.
She means as in practical things.
Practical things only. Yeah, so because they stay at mine, sometimes she'll say, "Oh, I got up early and I did this and I did that." Most things
it's
I
a bit
pay
of bartering as well, isn't it?
Oh,
because they're staying, so they want to do something for you.
They do, yeah. So it's good from that point of view.
Yeah.
So that's an advantage of a practical husband. I don't know if all of them would fall into
I've
that.
I've got on here, the car maintenance, because he's always fiddled around with cars. He's just mechanically minded like that.
Yes.
So I know that whenever my car, which is about the, what's it called here? The CT, as in...
Yeah, the MOT.
The MOT in UK is coming up soon. So he's probably going to have to give it a quick look over before I take that in. I don't know how long my car would last if I was on my own.
No, well, I've said this to you before that I used to... Mac wasn't particularly good with cars. He was very practical in other ways, but he wasn't very good with cars. Because he was with me when I bought the one that blew up over...
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I remember.
So when I could afford to, I would usually only have a car for 3 years. All the time it was under warranty.
Oh, so it was all try to always have a
newer car, yeah. So therefore I would have fewer problems with
which makes
things.
sense. That's why we bought a new car when we came over here, because we knew we'd have one that was at least under warranty for a while. Yeah, but that and the house maintenance is again.
Yes.
It's anything he's very good at maintaining basically.
Yes.
If it's something he's doing, he's on it. He doesn't just let it get worse and worse and worse. So I dread to think what state my car or the house would be in if it was reliant on me. So
what you have to do is pay people for those services that you get for free.
Isn't it? That is a downside, though, isn't it? Because you've got the worry of finding the money for it every time.
Absolutely, yeah, and that can be a an extra expense that you wouldn't have to find. But
Yeah, although you should be sensible, like you are now, you should have a pocket of money somewhere just in case. But
I've
it's
got
not
a rainy
always.
No, not always afford that. I mean,
No.
I'm lucky enough to have a rainy day package,
Yeah.
which I might have to come into. That's another story. But yes, Dunk's very good at things like that.
Yep.
But you have to have people around you you can trust to do things for you if you haven't got a partner who can.
Because there's too many people out there, especially some men, that will take advantage, won't they?
Yes.
I mean, I know it does happen here, and I've had, friends that here on their own that have been taken advantage of because they think you don't know and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's, a lot of people would say, they said we were brave coming over, but obviously it'd be the same with you, wouldn't it, coming over on your own?
People always say that. Oh, you're so brave.
Yeah.
They do. People think I'm brave. I think coming
but
over
you end up
here,
saying brave or stupid, but definitely not stupid, because it's paid off for us. So no, definitely. I mean, so it's all the heavy work as well. I don't know whether if Duncan wasn't around, whether I'd be able to just think, all right, I'm just going to have to do it. I'm going to have to learn to use an electric drill or anything. I mean, I've only in recent years learned how to use a hand saw, not even an electric one.
Yeah.
And one of those little saws that cut the branches off. I mean, I didn't think I had the strength for that, but it's funny how you can find that strength, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, there are things that
I think you need a practical head as well, though.
with a bit of heavy lifting.
Sort of stuff
Yeah.
You've got to use common sense when using things like that. And I mean, I've just recently got these microphones and that, and I just cannot get my head round how they operate. Duncan said it to me so many times. I can see he's losing it. He is just losing it now because he's thinking she just does not get it.
I had my son over, didn't I, last weekend?
Yeah.
And he fixed three little technical issues for me while he was over.
Yeah.
I did the same as to Fee. Fee had to reset all my laptop last time they were over, so I do utilise my children whenever possible.
I mean, that's the thing. I sometimes think I wish I could go. I mean, I think they did it in as an evening class or something in the UK, like where women could go to evening class to learn to use that sort of equipment, and I sometimes wish I had, because I think I just make Duncan a nervous wreck if I'd start. I mean, he's willing to show me sometimes, but I can imagine in the background biting his nail.
I think for me, it's surround yourself with people that can do those things for you.
Yeah.
So,
I obviously haven't had to go looking for that because he just does it. So it's that side of it. I'm quite lucky. And I've also got on here about sharing the workload, which is the shopping, the gardening. I think our garden would be quite hard work on my own. I mean, you find yours quite hard on your own, don't you? And yours is a lot smaller.
Mine's smaller. Yeah. I've roped Julie in this spring. Julie's going to help me with the garden this spring.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. Just get a plan together. And
she likes a bit of gardening, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's good at it. So, yeah.
Well, you did have some plans, but a couple of years ago, but it's not really, nothing's happened with it, has it, really? You were going to do the deck and all that sort of stuff.
I was, yeah. I
mean, things like even lighting the fire in the morning, isn't it, as well? I mean, you get a bit put off, and I can't be arsed or whatever. Whereas I'm all right with lighting it. Maybe that's because I don't do it all the time. Duncan does it as well. I don't know. And fetching the wood, again, we share that. Cause,
yes.
I'll go and get it, but very often Duncan's been and got it anyway.
Yeah.
It just, it's all part of that feeling cared for, and he wants to do this stuff for me. But I can get frustrated and think, no, I've got to do it myself because I've got to be independent. Because that's what I always said, like with this paying the bill and all that sort of stuff, if I was suddenly on my own, I'd be like a fish out of water. I've got to start looking for people to help me,
Yeah. And people would. Yeah.
But I mean, part of me being lucky getting done what I'm doing as well is our age difference, because Duncan is 10 years younger than me, so he's still a little bit, all the time I'm getting older, he's still that little bit more fit than me. So I mean, he does have his own problems and that, but I think it gives me comfort knowing that he will always be a little bit fitter than me, hopefully. And I always use the what's it, analogy?
Yes.
Just if ever I ended up in a wheelchair, God forbid, at least I'd have him to push it because he'd be fit enough.
I should be rolling my own wheels.
Yeah.
Should I talk about some of the advantages?
Well, I'm sort of mixing them up now, aren't I? But yeah, go with yours as a single person.
Oh, right, no, go on.
No, I'm
Yeah.
trying. I've just realised I've not separated mine.
Yeah,
properly.
I think with me it was a long list of very similar things, really. So, and it's about no one deciding what I can and cannot do. So that's the big advantage for me.
Yeah.
In that I don't have to take anyone else into consideration.
No.
So if I
Apart from me.
well, to be honest, sometimes I don't do things because you would tell me off.
Really?
And Callum said something the other day, and I said, "Oh, I could do with a really nice lie-in." He said, "Well, you can have." I said, "No,
Exactly.
Jana'd have a go."
You know I wouldn't. I might laugh at you and take the piss, but I wouldn't have a go.
So the things I've got is I can sleep in the day if I want to. I can eat what and when I want. So there's no restrictions on me.
But that's not always an advantage, is it?
I didn't say they were all advantages.
I thought you were going through the cons.
No,
Oh, they're
these
your
are-
pros, sorry.
It's the deciding what I can and cannot
okay.
do.
Okay.
I can have as many pets as I want.
Yep.
I can holiday when I want and
Yep.
with whom.
Yep.
I can sing in the shower. I can.
That's something I've never done.
I can make my own mistakes.
And that's sometimes a good thing.
It is a good thing. I
Yeah.
think you learn so much more if you're in full control of the mistake, the error. Yeah. You may not want to necessarily admit them all.
Was I can make a mistake and
Blame Dunk.
well, no, not that. It just that I know he will step in and put it right. Usually, depending on what it is.
Yes.
Whereas, so I don't necessarily learn because the next time I'll just turn to him, and that's not necessarily a good thing.
No, you've got a safety net.
Exactly.
And maybe that's a good and a bad thing. Yeah, maybe you're not necessarily going to learn as much.
No.
Yeah. And I think the make my own mistake thing, I remember a friend of mine recently, she's now divorced, and first time she'd ever bought a house on her own. And she was so worried about it, so worried about getting it right. And I said to her, it doesn't matter. If you've bought the wrong house, you can sell it and buy another house. Yeah. It was just that responsibility, doing something entirely on your own.
And it's a big responsibility,
yes,
isn't it? 'Cause
yes.
it's the money you're spending.
Yeah, but it's the first time you do something on your own, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, I mean, the only time I couldn't say I really felt like that was when I left my ex.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was out there on my own, and I did have to make, decisions on what to do. And it was scary because, obviously, when you've been in a relationship for a long time, isn't it? And then you're suddenly not. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that scariness, when it goes right, you can think, I achieved this.
Oh, God, I was so
just
proud
me.
of myself. Yeah.
Just me.
Yeah.
It's like when I look around the house, everything here is what I've worked for in some capacity or the other.
Yeah.
So, it's a very good feeling.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing as well. It's remembering to praise yourself as well as knock yourself, because I'm always very quick to knock myself, but I have to remember that I don't do everything wrong.
No. None of us do we?
No.
No.
And it's just that's one thing is, no, don't. I suppose to a certain extent you sort of take each other for granted, but he will say to me like, "Well done, girl," or something like that. He will. Well done, Jan, or Gorge as he calls me. So yeah, it's nice for someone to remind me that I do things right sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. You had holidays written down next,
yes,
didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, that's like you said. You can decide when and where you holiday and everything as well.
Yes.
Do you feel you can do that without worry, or you have concerns about your choices, or you just think, no, like you just said to your friend, you just do it?
No, I like it. In fact, I'd like to do more on my own than I do. Yeah, because I have got...
You had planned to do one this year, hadn't you?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I've said this before on a previous one. I would like to have, or even the bucket list, wasn't
Yes.
it? That I would like to do. Whether I'd get round to it or not, I don't know. But I'd like to do just one holiday, even if it was just a weekend or something, just on my own. Because I know I do sometimes enjoy it when I go to see the kids. Like, it's not on my own, but I'm going making the journey on my own, and I do like the idea of the freedom of walking around. Maybe getting a bit scared or get a bit nervous, but
yeah, I did a few before I came to France on my own, and I had my micro caravan, and I used to do weekends away and stuff. Only in the UK on my own.
Well, you actually was on your own in the caravan.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't remember that. I thought you always had one of the girls with you or
No.
something.
There was a couple of times I went up to Callum's, and I also had, when he was living in Nottingham. And I stayed in the Peak District with my micro caravan, and I went to an antiques fair weekend thing.
Oh, right.
I did another one to Derbyshire on my own when I went to Matlock and a couple of other places. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Yeah, went down to the Kent coast a couple of times on my own. Yeah.
But even that, it's the pulling a caravan and everything, and that you didn't sort of get worried about breaking down or anything happened with the caravan. You just
no, I had the AA. I would have gone on with it.
Oh, so it was all covered.
Yeah, it was all covered. There was only one time.
That's right though. Sometimes you just gotta just do it. The more time you hesitate, you'll never get round to it.
There was one time I was on my own on a campsite, and a few leery blokes were talking to me. At first one came up and said, "Oh, can I have a look?" And that wasn't unusual because it was such a strange sight.
Yeah.
So he had a little look, and then his mates arrived, and suddenly I felt a little bit not comfortable with this.
When she says have a look, she means have a look at the little caravan.
Yes. But it had a very good lock in it, so I knew I could lock myself in it at night and I was safe. And actually the lady who ran the campsite said to me the next day, "Were you okay?" Because I saw them talking to you.
Right.
So it was nice
good to know that they were looking out for you.
They were looking out for me. So but I knew it would lock at night, and I was okay with that. Yeah.
No, I do like the idea of it at least once.
I haven't done it since I've been here, really. Just because I got into the habit of going away with
just with friends,
Max and Julie, and I've been away with Jackie. It's funny because I was having Callum here for the weekend, and they'd been to Paris the night before, and he said, Mum, you could get the fast train from Laval. It's only an hour and a half. You could be in Paris. Why don't you go to Paris for the day or whatever? And I'm thinking, I quite like that. So I'm thinking about that now.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed when I surprised Fee for their 30th birthday.
Yeah.
When I just kind of flew over, and that was really nice. Yeah. I like that. I like the independence.
I mean, so obviously we make the choices together on where we're going to go generally, but Duncan will, again, he will organise it all, so I can just basically sit back and then pack my bag when time comes round.
Our Italy one, and again, I was lucky enough to come with you too to Italy. I don't mind being a third wheel. I don't feel. I mean, that's the friends I choose as well, because you two have never made me feel like a third wheel.
No.
And Max and Julie are the same. Yeah, but Dunk organised it all, didn't he? Yeah.
It's like having my own little travel agent. So that's a definite advantage. As I say, and when I get there, he usually knows where everything is. I don't realise that he's, like, even now, we're going to go to June to UK. He's all getting it planned in his head, because he's so much that sort of thing. He does like to have a bit of control over, because he doesn't want it to go wrong, basically.
Yes.
He doesn't like wasting time sitting around thinking about it. He wants to just get on and see what we want to see. And well, I've got down here about friends. I mean, I seem to have, and we've got obviously joint friends, but he doesn't have what you'd call male friends here, really, of his own.
Is that a boy thing?
It doesn't bother him. Well, in the UK, he was the same there. He used to he used to be his best friend. He didn't used to meet him in the pub. Once he met me, they might do, or before meeting me, they'd go to keep fit class together or something. But I suppose it is more a man thing. But you do get the odd men that are always out with their best mates down the pub and that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because he's
not
never
like
been like that.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I can see friends, and that I feel a bit occasionally, depending on my frame of mind, I might feel a bit guilty about if he's at work and I'm out enjoying myself.
Yes, there's a few times that I've said to you, "Oh, do you fancy coming to this?" And you're like, "Oh, I don't feel right going if Dunk can't come because he's at work." You know, yeah. I like that.
Depends on what it is. Sometimes if I know it's something he would like to do.
Yes,
that's the worst time.
Yes.
Whereas like Sunday, you said, if I can't come for this dinner, you go. You just go. So
yeah. I like having friends round without feeling uncomfortable. And I think that says more about my ex-partners, or embarrassed, or
about what though?
About them being in the house.
Oh.
And I get this sometimes with other friends as well. So we're trying to have a girly evening, and their other halves hang around or don't go out, and it can be there's things you cannot say.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Where I like it, I can have them round, we can say what we want. You know, we can get drunk and then they can accidentally stay, all that sort of thing. I really like. Yeah, and I think maybe friends become more important when you're on your own.
Oh yeah.
You know, because
I get that.
Yeah, in a lot of ways they're your safety net, aren't they? You know, and because you can, if you want to, spend more time with them as well. So yeah, I think your friendships maybe become more important, more intense.
Yeah.
Intense
is a strong word.
Yes, it is a strong word, isn't it? I don't know if that's quite what I meant. But they become more important. Yeah.
I mean, if it's important for everybody. I mean, I know, I used to have a lot more friends. I've just got, as I've got older, I've just got more and more selfish, I think, in a way, and more happy with my own company. Whereas once upon a time, I couldn't bear to be on my own.
Yeah, I was always like that.
I couldn't bear it. Whereas now I enjoy it. I like seeing friends here and there, but I don't, I couldn't be forever going out. Especially because now it would be bugging the life out of me. I wasn't spending some time in here doing some crafting or something. And obviously now I've tied myself up with videos and stuff. But again, I enjoy that. It's just, it just takes time to do.
Yes. Yeah.
So
basically, you need a workhorse.
Yeah. I do. Yeah. Mind you, was it when we were doing that quiz thing? I remember once it came up and you just said about having basically a home help for a day, wasn't it? Or it was an hour a day was to cook, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was to cook for me.
But if you had the money, you'd have a home help, sort of. Like, it makes you sound like old lady-ish then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
More like, just someone that you can... There are blokes out there, and that actually do that, don't they? Just go and help people with their little jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
But you've got to get... Sort of goes back to what you said, though. You need to be able to trust them.
Yes, trust that they're going to do a good job. I mean, another friend recently on their own has struggled to find a handyman, if you like, to do a decent job for them, and there's a couple that she won't be asking back. Yeah.
Oh,
but
really?
That's life, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's the same whether you're on your own or not. There's going to be certain people who get to do work that you won't necessarily ask again.
Yes, yeah.
It's just that you make that decision together when you're a couple, but if you're on your own, you've got to get the courage up and just say, like, no.
Yeah.
Don't come back.
Yeah.
Don't want to see you again.
Yeah, that can be difficult, can't it?
Because then knowing you're on your own, are they going to keep pestering, With being in a relationship like we are, as you well know, work and stress.
Yes.
And that's a really hard thing to not be able to take the stress and the worries away. So that's one thing I sometimes could do without. But if I find a solution and I can help him, then that makes me feel good as well. So it's hard watching your other half suffer, basically.
Yes.
So I know that works both ways. So that's on your own. You've only got yourself to worry about, haven't you? Or apart from your children, of course.
Oh, we never stop worrying about them.
No, exactly.
No. I've got 3 very important cons. No one to sort my bra out.
Yes.
And no one to moisturise my back.
Yeah. There's probably gadgets you can buy, aren't there? But,
Yeah. There's bits I can't reach. that I want someone else to be able to sort out for me.
But then I've got a partner, and he doesn't very often do things like that. I don't very rarely, especially as he's got older. I did more when we were younger, but he was working his hands all the time. His hands hurt, so he doesn't. Very rarely volunteers to massage or rub anything in.
Oh.
It's just so I've still had the same problem, and I keep thinking, how can I get round this? There must be a gadget or something.
Or we need to go on Dragon's Den with one.
Yes.
A back moisturiser.
I'm sure I've seen someone that's actually bought something out like that you can. It's probably in someone like Lakeland Plastics or someone like that's probably got it. Or one of the old people with aid catalogues.
Yes,
How embarrassing would that be? Be embarrassing to buy something out of there. Where'd you get it from? Oh, that's all right. Just found it online. don't want to say where you got it from.
The other important thing is getting up and getting a drink for me, especially if I've got a cat on my lap.
When we had a cat, it was always the one that had the cat. Obviously, could just sit there, and the other one would get up and do it.
Because you shouldn't really get up and disturb a cat.
No, apparently not. No. They don't like it.
They don't like it. Especially in the winter, they're so lovely and warm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a big disadvantage.
Well,
but then sometimes I line up 2 or 3 drinks.
Do you?
Not necessarily alcohol.
No, I know what you're saying.
So I don't have to get up again if I've got a cat on my lap. But you have to cover him because he puts a paw in.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
The only thing is to make yourself a flask of coffee and put it next to you on the settee. Yeah, that's a thought.
But overall, you would say you prefer to be living with someone.
Yeah. So it's just occasionally. It's all that what you haven't got, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yes, yeah.
Just occasionally, I would just like just a bit of time on my own. Because I do enjoy, as I said, I've now developed this where I like my own company.
Where I'm the opposite. I occasionally wish there was someone else around. But most of the time, I'm bloody grateful there isn't.
Yeah. Well, that's what I say. There's so many things that, as I've said, that he does that I don't have to do. And if I was on my own, I'd have to. So,
Yes,
it's always that. The grass is always greener or something similar.
Well, yes. Be interesting if let's hope not, but our tables are ever turned. How we both feel.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting, wouldn't it? Well, that's this week's one, I think. I can't think of anything else. I think so.
I don't know how far on we are.
No.
We're about an hour.
Must be about that. But yes, so if any of you have got any comments or questions about what we've been talking about, maybe you can share how you feel whether you're in a couple or a single person.
Yes, it'd be really interesting actually.
Yeah, because I'd like to try and comment on people's comments, so we can always talk about it in the next one or
we always read them,
up.
don't we, and discuss them. We're always talking about the comments.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we will say goodbye for now, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
All right. Bye-bye.
Or listen. Bye.
Bye-bye.